Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And in today's episode, the topic is, did ESPN make a huge mistake by letting Max Kellerman go? So that's the topic I'm going to get into in today's video. But before we get into that, I want you guys to please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Also, make sure you check out Dreamerspro Max, an online sports community place you can talk about basketball, chat live during games, and so many other cool things. We have that linked in the comments section below. Anyway, let me get into this video here. So we all know the big news about Max Kellerman leaving ESPN First Take. And to be quite honest with you, we've been focused on other things, doing other things. So I actually forgot to pay attention to the debut of the new co-host, which is Michael Irvin. Now, who's Michael Irvin? He's a former NFL player, three-time Super Bowl winner, multiple All-Pro bowler. He played I think he played his entire career with the Dallas Mavericks. He's number 88, right? He's the famous number 88. So he's a pretty big deal with the Dallas Cowboys, and he used to make some guest appearances on the show here and there. And whenever he would appear on ESPN First Take in the past, he would always have these explosive kind of back and forth with himself and Stephen A. Smith, right? We remember this, right? There was always this electricity, and it was always usually centered around the Dallas Cowboys. That was always or football. That was always what they were usually arguing about. But I wasn't paying much attention to the fact that he was going to be there. It was just something that was off my radar. Our focus were on other things. So yesterday, after kind of wrapping up our day, I was just kind of surfing on YouTube, and I saw some little, pieces, clips of, some of the different segments that they did. And I said, that's right. Michael Irvin is going to be hosting the show. So what did I do? I decided to click on, one of these videos because when I clicked on it, I was saying to myself, this guy has some pretty big shoes to fill in Max Kellerman, because you can say whatever you want about Max Kellerman, this and this and this, but him and Stephen A. Smith made the show entertaining at the very least, right? It was entertaining. There was some good back and forth banter. There was some intelligent conversations taking place at the same time. So when I tuned in, I was like, okay, let's see, because you're used to a certain standard when you're talking about ESPN First Take. So when I clicked on the video, the topic that they were arguing was who is the best playmaker in sports, which is such a terrible question to ask, to be quite honest. What kind of question is who's the best player? How are you going to come up with an answer across so many different sports? But nevertheless, that's the topic that the producers came up with that day. So when I clicked on the video, I couldn't believe just how terrible it was. So before I go too far, we put together a quick snippet of some of the things that I heard, and I want you guys just to listen to this. So just take a listen to some of this here.
So because your nickname is the Playmaker, I want to ask you this. Who is the best playmaker in all of sports?
That all started, the Playmaker, with guys saying, oh man, I can cover you, and they do, but the play is still made, hence the Playmaker. He makes plays that are not there. You talked about it, Stephen A. You talked about it earlier. You talked about Tom Brady winning with guys that were less talented. That's called making plays that were not there. We talked about Tom Brady leaving New England, going to Tampa. And this team, Tampa, had no shot at getting to a Super Bowl. But Tom Brady made the play that was not there and got that team to a Super Bowl. When you're talking about the greatest playmaker right now in the game, I have to hearken back to Tom Brady because he continues to make the plays.
Again, in sports.
In sports. Right now, the greatest playmaker in sports right now is Tom Brady because he goes, wherever he goes, he's making plays that nobody sees.
You do understand that most people wouldn't feel he's the greatest playmaker in football. They would think that's Patrick Mahomes. You do know that.
But because they got a wrong definition of making plays. They want some excitement of making plays, some old big play of making plays.
Right.
A playmaker is the guy that make the plays. Hey, Kansas City is the most talented team in the world, right? They got all those plays they're making, they're wide open. Those are that's not a playmaker. Tom Brady is the playmaker. He's doing things that you don't see, things that you're right there and you can't stop.
So, Michael Irvin, you ever heard of somebody named LeBron James?
let me just say this, right? And I don't mean to be harsh. I don't mean to be hypercritical. That was terrible. That was terrible. First of all, after listening to that clip, what did you understand from that segment? Like, I was listening to it, and as I was listening, I was trying to process what they were saying. And then as I'm listening to it, I realized these guys are saying a bunch of nothing. I think ESPN really, really dropped the ball on this one. The excitement of making plays? What kind of analysis is that? The excitement of making plays. If you sit down and mull over that statement, you will realize that makes absolutely no sense, right? This is what ESPN First Take has degenerated into. Let me just say this, guys. This is bad. And let me tell you how I know it, how I know I'm not the only one that feels this way. When I started clicking on some of the videos from segments from the episode that they did yesterday, all of the videos had a 50% dislike ratio. Do you know how bad that is? Listen, we've done some videos in the past where we discussed how a lot of these networks judge the quality of their programs, and usually they're going off the Nielsen TV ratings. And what they're doing is they're checking in to see at a particular time slot when the show is playing, they're looking to see who's the demographic that's watching, the age range, what's their geography, and then they look for the average time watched or something like that, and that's how they come up with their ratings, right? But in all of these different things, the one thing that this rating system does not take into account is the opinion of the viewers watching. They're not looking for that. What they're looking for is to make sure that the key audience demographic that they're going after is watching them for the standard amount of time that they normally would need to watch for them to go to advertising and say, listen, this is the market, this is the target audience that you're looking for. They're watching our show. These are the numbers. These are the amount of people that are watching our show based on our samples. And this is what they use to say that this is going to be a good show. However, their rating system or their feedback system of understanding whether or not they have a good show or not, it's not good enough, because if you go and look at some of these videos, and that's why YouTube is beating a lot of these guys in certain areas, because of the feedback system, right? Because on YouTube, you can judge the views. You can say, okay, this video got 100, 200, 300, 1 million, 2.5 million views. Fine. Everybody can understand that. But then when you go into the video itself, there are other tools for measuring just how good that piece of content is. You have the like and dislike button, which you do not have when you're watching a television show. You can't send in feedback to say, okay, I don't like what I'm seeing right now. I like what I'm seeing. YouTube gives you that, and they also give you the comment section. And the comment section is where people make their thoughts felt. So when I saw a 50% dislike ratio, I knew that something was off. Now, some people could say, hey, wait a minute. That may be due to the fact that Max Kellerman just left the show, and there may be a recency bias against Michael Irvin, because a lot of people are still reeling from the fact that Max Kellerman is no longer at the show, which could be true. However, there is a bar, and after watching some of the segments from that show, it is clear to see that now this show is turned into a watered down shouting match between Stephen A. Smith and Michael Irvin. That's all it is. That's all it is. There was no critical analysis whatsoever. It was all about entertainment. And I think you can do the two things at the same time. You can give some insightful analysis to the subject matter, but at the same time, you can do it in an interesting way, right? But once it's just a bunch of screaming and nonsense, I think people quickly understand that this is all about shock value and shouting, right? They're not really here trying to really they're not really trying to inform their audience. They're just solely trying to entertain them. And I think the mistake that they're making there is that they feel as if people are stupid enough not to be able to discriminate between the two and understand what's entertainment and what's just a bunch of nonsense being said at the same time. As I said, you can inform people and entertain them at the same time. And in this particular instance, it looks like I think they dropped the ball on this one. Like, I think they dropped the ball on this one. Listen, this is a step down from Max Kellerman. That's exactly how I feel. And I think a lot of the people see it. It is turned into a circus, that show. And I guess this is what they want. So what I want to know from you guys is, do you think that they messed up? Because personally, After watching a few segments, I'm not going to be going back to be watching that again because nobody has the time for that, right? There are other people having more sensible debates out there. I'd rather go watch Undisputed with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp is extremely entertaining, but at the same time, he's analytical and he makes some good arguments at the same. You can do the two. You can do those two things. ESPN has just turned that show. They've turned it into a shouting-a-thon, if that's a term. So anyway, what I want to know from you guys is what do you think about the notion of ESPN making a huge mistake by letting Max Kellerman go? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamers Pro, wishing you guys an amazing day and catch you guys on the next episode.